Hi, my people. Welcome back to 100 Days of Data with Miss Mailiana, and it's day 30. We are on day 30. That is approximately 1 month into this challenge. I hope you've gotten a lot of basics explained to you, and you get to see that data analytics is as easy as it comes, and you can actually be a data analyst or add data analytics skills to whatever career you want to build. Thank you so much for staying with us, and we clocked 50 learners. So I just decided that I'm not going to be calling you guys subscribers, because subscribers is just like looking out for maybe monetary things, right? Because we have to hit 1,000 subscribers and all that and all that. I'm like, you all are subscribing because you all are learners. You want to learn. So we are on 50 learners, and I just imagine that if 50 students or learners were in a class where I'm teaching, that is my prayer that every month we clock an average of 50 learners. So if we have 50 learners on our YouTube channel watching us and learning from us, that is a big deal. It's a big deal when we have that. So thank you all so much for making this possible, or for rooting for us and for rooting for the challenge. Because if it's not you, like, I'm sure I've given up, especially this week. You realize that I spent some time on the board for so I think I've spent some time on the board for so long. And also you realize that I kept saying I wasn't in the mood, right? But I kept showing up because I knew that at that time about 40 learners were watching out for me. And now we are on 50. And I said we will get to 100 learners by end of February. I see that happening, because next week we'll clock to about 80, and then we'll hit 100 learners. And that is a huge success. Thank you so much. I just want to say I appreciate you all, and let's keep learning. These are basics informations, and I pray that as you watch them, as you listen to them, and as you spend time learning, you get to understand where you fit in the data world. The data world or the data industry is large enough for you all, and it's large enough for us all, right? I am just here to teach you as well, and I hope you take it. So as I have already started this 100 days challenge, you can also give yourself that 100 days challenge to make it, right? I challenge you all that set yourself 100 days, maybe in a year. No, 100 days in a year is like you have limited yourself. But all the 100 days challenge you see us do, just use that to set yourself that if Miss Mailiana is doing this challenge, I will also challenge myself to keep showing up, keep building, keep learning data analytics, and I'm going to make it as well. I want to see you win, and we all want to see you win. Thank you so much. On behalf of the Mailiana team, we say we appreciate you all. Thank you. All right, so for today is a task, right? As usual, when we are wrapping up on one particular tool, we go on to actually give you a task. But this time around, like, just so that we celebrate our 50 learners and we celebrate day 30, I am going to actually go through all the projects with you. So I came up with the whole project, right, in a document, and then the queries as well. Then I'm going to go through the queries with you very soon on the laptop, so that you get to understand. And I hope you also practice this project and you get to understand data analytics with my SQL. Let's get onto the onto the laptop, not the board this time. We are wrapping up with SQL. The next tool we are going to look at is Power BI. So let's finish up with SQL quickly, right? So let's get on the laptop, and we are going to learn something, right? Wrap up everything. There's a full project that you can do to start your journey in SQL. All right, so let's get into that. So we already have multiple I said when I'm working with you guys, I'm going to actually try to make the screen appearance light, so that we get to see properly. Yeah, so it's light now, and these are queries we did previously, right? So I'm going to open a new um, query, and this, okay, this is not needed at this point, and this is the project that I did, right? So please make sure you join our WhatsApp group. So fill the form and join our WhatsApp group so that we, when you ask for anything, we can deliver to you, right? We don't want to give almost every information here. We want to bond with you. You get all right. So the project is simple sales analysis system, right? So the goal is to actually create a simple is to create a small database and answer business questions using basic SQL concepts, right? So the concept is to cover creating a database, creating a table, insert, select, where, order by, limit, group by, having, subqueries, and some aggregate function. So our very first step is what is to create our database. So this is actually a query, okay? This is a query for you. So you are creating a database called simple sales project using a simple sales project, right? So we can start, right? So I have already opened a new file. I can name this file, right? So let me name it as simple sales data base. All right, so saved, right? So we have that, and I'm going to, my very first thing is to create the database, right? So create database. So this is the name. Also note that SQL don't really recognize spaces in the name, so that's why we use the underscore, right? So simple sales project, right? So I am going to execute the very first line one, but I want to actually bring another query first, which is drop database simple underscore sales underscore project. So if I share this database with anyone and they want to actually run it, right? It's, or if I want to run it multiple times just for you to see, it's going to start with dropping it while deleting it and starting all over again. That's what the very first query line is all about. So I'm going to execute with the I, right? The second, just for the very line one. I'm not executing all. If I'm executing line one, line three, line five, I'll use the very first one. But I'm executing just line one, so I'm going to use this, right? Okay, so it's giving me an error, and you also have to read the error. As I said, error code cannot drop database, simply simple sales project database does not exist. So this error is not an alarm, right? So now we go create our database, and yes, it says what, create database, one row affected. We can't see it here, so we actually refresh our schema, and now we can see the simple sales project as a database here. So remember, we created the company and we created the school. So now we've created simple sales project. Now we have to activate our database, and to activate our database we use the use query. So we do that and we execute line 5. Now our database is highlighted, or is now bold and active, that whatever you're going to be doing henceforth is going to fall under the simple sales project, right? So now let's go. All right, I just had to get my notes because yeah. All right, so now the next thing is to create our table, right? So we are creating multiple tables. We are going to create customer table, and we are going to create product tables, and we are going to create order tables. So let's take it one after the other, and then I just like copy and paste. And so this is also to tell you that you don't have to crack your mind all the time. Okay, right? You can actually use the AI tools to come up with your queries, to come up with things as well. But then you should be able to understand whatever you are doing. That is the importance, right? So you realize that I didn't just copy everything onto SQL and just run everything. I'm taking it one after the other so that you get to understand them, right? All right, so now on line 7 says, let me zoom in a bit. All right, line 7 says create table called customers, right? And in that table we will have customer ID, which is an integer, and also a primary key. And remember, what did we say a primary key is? What is the unique identifier? And then now we also say that the ID is the customer ID is auto increment, so it increases by itself. When a new person comes, we give the next number to the person, right? Then now we have the customer name, which is a voucher, and a voucher is just saying that it's a text, right? And it's a text with about maximum 100 characters. So ABCD in your name, right, shouldn't be more than 100, something like that, right? And then we have the region 2 is a voucher, and also the spelling of each of the regions shouldn't be more than 50 letters, right? So now let's execute. So all this, right, all this to this, and all number 7 to number 11 is one particular query, right? Query statement that we've created, and we are going to execute just that. Now a table is created. Let's refresh our schemas. All right, so when we refresh our schemas, we immediately see a new arrow pointing to our table. So when you expand it, you see the customers table on there, right? So we can actually view the table. So to view the table, remember, is what? Select everything, which is star, from words customers, and now semicolon, and we execute. Right, so now we can see the customer ID, customer name, and region. Beautiful. All right, so now the next table we are going to be creating is the product table. So I'm going to take the product table and we create that. So let me reduce this a bit. Right, so create table from 14 to 18 is another query statement. Create table product, and in that table, in the product table, we have product ID, which is also a primary key. It's also an integer and also has the auto increment function. All right, so we have the product name, which is also a voucher, and we have the price. Right, so now let's execute. So when we execute that, we refresh, and now we can see customer and product. Okay, so we can also select it, right, to view it, right? So select star from customers. Sorry, we are doing product now. Okay, so let's execute that, and we can see the table, right? Product ID, product name, and then the price of the product. So now let's go and create our next table. So we are creating 3 tables in this project. So we are creating the order table. Okay, all right, so the order table is a bit lengthy, right? But don't worry, we're going to explain shortly. So the order table is really connected to the product table and the customer table, because when the order comes in, it's being like we are buying a product, the customer is buying a product, so customer is involved, product is involved, right? So take note of that. We'll get to that shortly. So we are creating the table called orders, and in that table we have the order ID, which is also an integer and is a primary key. So it's a unique identifier for this particular table. So note, unique identifier or primary key like is fixed for that particular table. Okay, then we have the customer ID. So which customer ID are we talking about? Customer ID from the customer table. right? So in the customer table, the customer ID is a primary key in that particular table. And now we look at product ID too. Product ID is also what, a primary key in the product table. Take note of that. And they are all integers, right? Remember, they are all integers. Then we look at quantity. Quantity is also integer. We look at order date. Order date is a date, so you make sure you label that. Right now we address the other primary keys from the other tables. They are showing up in this table, so they don't become a primary key here. They are foreign because they are already in another table. Okay, so now we have foreign key, which is the customer ID, and the reference is from what, the customer's table in customer ID. So we are trying to tell SQL that the customer ID that it is in the other table, it's actually found in the customer table, and it's the same thing. So you're trying to tell us that it's the same thing. So is the product ID. So remember, so if you identify a primary key in a particular table and it reflects in another table, that new table should be what, a foreign key, right? So now let's execute. What does this do? What's the importance? It actually links all the table to the other table. It links customer table to the table, and it links the product table to the table. It's some sort of the data modeling, right? You are modeling, you are building a relationship that, oh, they are friends, they are together, they have something in common. Okay, so now let's execute all that. Right, so we execute it and we are good to go. So let's refresh our schema so that we see all our tables. So we see the customer table, we see the order table, and we see the view table. So now let's look at our order table. So select everything from orders, right? Then now we execute. So we can see we have order ID, customer ID, product ID, quantity, and order date. All right, okay, so now let's go further to insert our information, right? So you're inserting this into customer. You're inserting some values into customers, right? So you're inserting the customers. Remember, our customer ID is auto increment, so SQL can do that for us, right? And so remember that it's just 3 columns, right? ID, customer name, and region. So we go on with customer name and region. So Ama West, Kojo East, AC West, and also Yao North, right? So that is our query, right? So insert into the table accordingly like this, right? So customer name, this one, and then the values are this, right? Remember that your values should be in quotation marks as well. All right, so let's go. Let's have that. So now let's refresh our schemas. Always remember to refresh your schemas because you are bringing something new, so it has to refresh. So now let's select to see select everything from customers, and let's look at that. All right, so you can see the table here, the result grid. You can see that it has already given you ID 1 2 3 4, and it's giving you your customer name. It has inserted everything beautifully, right? Okay, so let's move on to insert products. So yeah, let's go. We insert products with the same thing. Insert product according to product name and price. Remember, product ID is auto increment, so it's going to increase. It's going to SQL is going to label it by itself, and this is a product. So let's execute and let's refresh our schemas, and then now let's look at it. So let's say select everything from products. All right, and semicolon, then we execute. Right, so it's there beautifully. Final input is our orders. Okay, all right, so we have our order, and then we move, right? So customer ID, product ID, quantity, and order date. Okay, so now let's execute. All right, Let's refresh our schemas. Let's not forget that. And let's select everything from orders, right? Then let's execute that. So beautifully, so our table is done, right? We've inserted all that needed. So let's do some questions and we come to a wrap. So for you viewing all your customers, you do that. We've done that already. So let's say we want to show customers from the west. Okay, only west. So we are going to do we are going to do select everything from customers, right, where the region is equal to west. So we want to see only west, right? It will show in the results grid. So we execute that, and we have seen that Ama and AC are from the west, or ordered in the west, right? So that is a question that we just answered. Another question could be that show products ordered with customer's name, right? So we are going to go through this. As I said, if you want all this, please join the community, right? Select. So we are looking at products ordered with customers names, right? So we want to see the customer's name. So this customer is what, select in the table, right? Select in the table customers dot the customer name, right? So that is specific. So we are selecting only the name from the customer name. Then we go and select product name from the product name. Then we select quantity from the order table. Let me take it again. We are saying that we want to show the product ordered with the customer's name. So we want to see the product's name and then the customer's name. And remember, we have 3 tables. So you're going to take the name, the customer name from the customer's table. So this is how you write it, right? The table dot the column. Then now the product table dot the product name, and then the orders table dot the quantity, right? From orders, right? You are taking it from orders. Then we are going to join. Remember when we talk about join. So we are going to join onto the orders table. Orders dot customer ID is equal to customer name. So in the new table that we are creating, okay, in the new table that we are creating, showing the orders, right? We are taking the order ID, the customer ID, to the from the customer, from the orders table. That is it, customer ID from the customers table, right? So we are joining this from this, which is the same thing. We are telling you that it's the same thing as the customer name. So the order customer ID we see in orders is the same thing that we see in customers. So join them together. The product ID we see in orders is the same thing we see in products. So join them together. All right, so join customer onto this because they are the same thing, and that's it. So let's execute, and you're going to see, let me expand this for you to see. So you are seeing the products, the customer name, product name, and quantity. This is how we use join, right? This is how we use join. Yeah, joining things together because they have something in common. Okay, all right, so let's look at the final one last question. Total revenue by order, and that will be a wrap, right? Okay, all right, so we are looking at total revenue by order. Okay, so we are going to take the order ID, and then we are going to calculate the revenue. So to calculate the revenue, right, is what quantity times price will give you the revenue, right? So when you are calculating, now when it gets you the final result, what will it be called? It's going to be called total revenue from the orders table. Then you join the products onto the orders products, right? Orders products, product ID in the orders is the same thing as product ID in the product table. So join them together. That is it. So let's execute to see. So it's given as the order ID and then the total revenue that was given by the order ID. All right. So I hope you understand. If you don't understand anything, find your way to join our what our WhatsApp group so that you can ask any questions, and we are going to be there as a team to help you navigate your learning journey. Thank you so much for learning. Right, this time around, I think I'm going to be changing some words as we go on. We are 30 days in. I'm so proud of you. All right, thank you. All right, so we've come to the end of day 30. This is a whole full project, and we can go on and on and on and on and on. But this is just some questions and how to create a table, how to create database. I hope you understand queries to this point. Even if you don't have a laptop and you follow all that I have taught you, you should be able to explain queries to someone. Right, and the person may think you are a guru because you are explaining with a very simple format. All right, thank you so much for learning with us. I'm going to see you on day 31. We are going into Power BI, one other tool that I love deeply, because most of the time my students create beautiful dashboard than I am. I don't know why I think that is a bragging point, but it's just amazing to see my learners, my students do amazing things more than I taught them. All right, I hope you learned, and I want to see more comments from you. It energizes me. Like today, as I'm recording, I'm like, I have 50 learners, so it gives me some energy to keep going. I am so happy. We are so happy to have you all here. We are putting in the work, and we are so glad that you are also learning. Thank you once again for learning with us. As we've challenged to give you these lessons, I also want you to challenge yourself to learn, because data is not going to it's not going to go anywhere. Organizations will need data, AI will need data. So do not think that data analytics is ending now. It is the starting point for you to actually be good with all the work you do in whatever industry you are in. So please take it seriously. And one thing I want you to do is, as you learn, please take your LinkedIn seriously. Post about what you learn. Tag me, Francisca Mailiana Zonki. I am willing and will be happy to see all that you are learning, and repost to my connect, so that you can build your presence, so that when it's time for you to say I need a job, someone can know that you can be trusted. Because I have helped people get jobs in 2025. 2026, I'm going to also help other people get jobs, because people come to me to actually request for jobs, and sometimes I go for job interviews that I realize that I can give to another person. So if you are building and I get to see what you're doing, I now can say that, oh, there's this particular person in my community that can do the job. So do not take all that we are doing here for granted, and actually parasite. I'm giving you the avenue, the permission to parasite from the energy I'm giving in creating content, in teaching you, like parasite from it, so that you can also learn and also put yourself out there for the opportunities you are looking for, the remote job you are looking for. It's out there. Just put yourself out. There's so much room for all of us to shine, and I want to see you all shine. All right, thank you all so much for watching, and it's bye for now. I'll see you on day 31. Bye.